I'd like to call the meeting to order. It's 6:30 p.m. The first order of business is public comments.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Deb.
Okay. Just a brief comment. We've got notification that there will be a grant available towards the updating and revising of bylaws, and it also will affect potentially the planning commission for the town plan. So we do not yet have the details to apply. That will be coming in October 1st, and the application deadline is November 15th. So as soon as we get the details, we'll put that together and see if we can't get a part of that grant money.
Great, thank you, Tabby. Jim?
I have a question and a comment, if I can. My question is, the snowmaking pipe from Westlake that runs down Handle Road, if that pipe is leaking, whose responsibility is it to repair it? Is it Mount Snow's or is it the town's?
I would gather it's Mount Snow's. What do you think, Randy?
So, only because back over a month or so ago, I noticed that as well. And so,
Well, it was there last winter.
yeah.
It was there last winter with ice dams.
So I wasn't sure what it was from, so I brought it up to Richard Warner, and then he reached out to Mount Snow. Mount Snow said they are aware of it, and I believe they are going to repair it, if I remember what Richard said. But yeah, I think they were gonna.
And my question would,
Yes.
my second follow-up question would it be before the winter?
You can ask Richard or Dave Moulton, I guess. But yeah, I think. Yeah, they're
Okay,
well
so
aware
we
of it.
should reach out to Mount Snow formally and ask for that. Is it in Dover that's leaking?
It's in Dover, and it's a sizable leak.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going right down the side of the northbound lane on Handle Road.
How far up?
It's just a couple hundred feet north of where the pond is, the Valley Trail there. And actually Travis is, from what I understand, I think about it, is even aware of it.
Yes.
So I think we're supposed to be working on it at some point.
Yes.
Yes,
Travis
Jeanette.
is aware of it.
Great.
He said they were gonna be doing something with it, but I guess he, from what I understand from him, he seems to think that it's the town's responsibility, but maybe he should reach out to Mount Snow before it does anything.
Jim?
I certainly don't think it's the town's responsibility to repair their main snowmaking line
I would
from
agree.
Westlake.
I would agree with that.
By any stretch of the imagination.
So I would like to see us send a letter to Mount Snow, to both Tracy and Dave Moulton, and ask them to respond to us, that we're aware of it and that we would like an answer of a timeline. And I do believe it's they put it in. It's their line, and we don't own that line. I don't want to be repairing that. So can you do that, Jeanette, please? Thank you. Okay? You have something else?
Yeah, my comment. I thought the exchange between the select board and the assessor at the last meeting was, at least in my mind, quite contentious. And when I left here, I was wondering, maybe they do have a legitimate complaint. So I went to some surrounding towns to check on their errors and omissions. And if you don't mind,
Certainly.
I went to Brookline. They have 330 properties on their grand list. They had one E&O. Newfane at 1,378 had two. Townsend with 975 had one. Stratton with 1,588 had zero. Whitingham with 1125 had zero. And our closest neighbor, Wilmington, with 3,981 properties had 6. And Dover with approximately 4,000 properties had 8, I believe, somewhere around there, anyway. So, based on the volume of property transfers that occurred in this town last year, which was, I believe, the second highest in the state, it probably wasn't out of line. Stuff happens, I get that. The second thing is, Joe made a comment about the $8,000 plus. And he was quite offended that his feeling was that the assessor's office, through the errors and omissions, cost the town money. It is my feeling that they did not cost the town any money at all. Actually, the town wasn't entitled to that money, and the assessor's office made an effort to correct those errors and omissions in the favor of the property owners. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your comments. Joe, would you like to respond?
I just have to ask the question when I see a loss, but I appreciate the explanation.
It's not a loss.
So we overbilled people. We billed them for taxes that really were not due. So I knew that from the beginning, that this was, a lot of this is stuff that, we weren't doing. I completely understand. And I appreciate your comments, and please always bring your comments to us. They're valuable. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, and moving on to the police department and the use of force policy.
So I just wrote down a couple notes, I'll try to be short. So I was waiting until this select board meeting, your last one of the month, before I brought this up. And this is in regards to the state mandated use of force policy that we must adopt by October 1st. So it's kind of interesting, the use of force policy was once called response to resistance, if that's what us police officers do, respond to resistance. Now it's being called use of force again. But anyway, I don't have much to add. If you guys all read a couple of weeks ago when Chief Morano explained that to the Wilmington Select Board, pretty much covered it all. For those who didn't read it or didn't see it, in short, this is going to be the third policy of this kind within the last year that we've had that's come from a combination of the George Floyd incident, the public outcry, the Vermont House and Senate Judiciary, Governor Scott's August 2020 executive order that all agencies must adopt now this use of force policy by October 1st. If we do not adopt this policy, then we could lose, or we may not qualify for any state grant money, and we can also lose possibly access to the Vermont Police Academy for training. Governor Scott assigned this task to the Department of Public Safety, which oversees the Vermont State Police. I've never read the Vermont State Police use of force policy, but I'm sure probably a lot of this is probably from theirs. I know a couple of incidences or a couple of things that are from their state police policy or in this, like i.e. the use of viewing body cameras. So again, if we don't, all my officers this past Friday, except for Becky and I, because Becky was out of town and I was here at the select board meeting, attended a 3.5 training on this new 32-page use of force policy over in Bennington that we had to pay for, plus their travel time back and forth. So again, here's the mandated policy and an expense that we have to incur that nothing was done by legislature for us to do. I briefly read the policy again today, and I also did a supervisor's online version of the training. But I got a lot of a brief summary from Mike Arbogast, Sergeant, who went to the training last Friday over in Bennington. And in short, he said, even though there was some changes from our current policy to this new one, a lot of what they mentioned at this is something that we here at Dover PD in our original use of force policy is already doing. There's more emphasis in this policy on the mental health issues and de-escalation. So I can really go into a lot more detail, but in short, again, this is the third policy that legislature now has changed or mandated that we change in a 1-year time. And again, I think it's because of jumping, these are my words, and it's going to be printed. It's a knee-jerk reaction to a public outcry without really stopping and thinking what they're forcing, you know, as far as a policy until they actually talk to other people about it, so. So overall, it's not bad. There's some things that we're just gonna have to deal with if it ever comes about. And we'll see what happens the first time it's statewide, something happens, and we'll see if legislature changes something again.
Are there any questions, Sarah?
What would you say is the biggest difference between this policy and what Dover Police have already put in place?
So, one of the things, and it's like if we do it's a use of force, where it's deadly force or serious bodily injury, and we have the Vermont State Major Crime Unit come in. In their policy, they have it where if one of their troopers violated it, they cannot review any footage, whether it's from a cruiser camera or a body camera, before giving a statement to the investigators. So that is now mandated in this policy that we cannot view that. We can make a statement, and then if they so desire, with an attorney, the officer, and then after they make that statement, then they're allowed to go and view any video, whether it's body camera, cruiser, or say someone with a cell phone. They then can view that and then make another statement on top of that. So I think that's probably one of the major, issues with that. And that goes, with our state's attorney. They have no issues that we view our footage anyway when we go testify. So, but this is one thing, and basically I remember too, the State Police Major Crime Unit, if they're investigating this, if an officer goes and views the camera before they talk to him, they will not talk to him. That's my understanding. So, that's the biggest thing.
Other questions? So the police department normally adopts policies that we don't even know about, so, because they're mandated, just like this one is.
So a lot of them are mandated. Some of them are not. So then we have obviously your major ones like use of force, vehicle pursuits. There's a handful, but all the policies that we adopt from Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns. Therefore, they're policies that they have experts write, and we adopt those policies, seeing how there are legal authority or whatever you want to use it, that if anything happens, even they're the ones that covers the towns in any kind of suits or anything, so we adopt their policies that they write. So that's where most of them come. I think all of them are. I think the only one that I have that is not from them, and it might be the taser policy. I can't remember that off the top of my head, but that would come from the International Chiefs of Police Association. And then, of course, you adopt any of these policies to your department, because even like with Vermont VLCT, they got a policy where it includes canine. We don't have canine.
Mhm.
So you adopt it to how it fits into your municipality.
So my point was, we don't usually, do you want just okay, or we don't usually make a motion to adopt these types of policies?
No, it's basically an FYI, not unless
Yep.
you say, no, don't go for it, we don't agree with it, and then, well, then
Okay.
it could have.
I just wanted to clarify that situation.
Yep.
Because I can't remember any of those policies ever being adopted
No.
by this board.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think maybe some of the major ones like this one that I can really see would have an effect, maybe I brought them up in the past, maybe I haven't, but yeah, they get reviewed, a lot of them, either every other year. Some of them might go out to the less important ones, like every 5 years, but I review them and just see if VLCT's updated them or not with current law, both federal and state, so we change it accordingly.
Okay. So you're adopting this policy?
It will be adopted by October 1st,
Okay.
and there'll be more training on it as well as we go through, so.
With
This
no,
policy.
with no money behind that to support?
No money behind it.
Yeah,
Another state mandated thing.
great.
Why should you guys be left out, right?
I think they're on the front end. Anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Highway. We have consider the Hydroseeder grant opportunity. So Travis, is he on?
Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you. We can't see you, but we can.
Okay. Yeah, so we've gotten a grant, or we didn't get a grant. I'd like permission to apply for a grant, letter of intent. The state's offering up a grant for Hydroseeder, roller compactor, many other items that could be useful in our road erosion inventory stuff. A screener, a lot of stuff. I just was curious if I could apply a letter of intent to get that grant. However, this grant will only be covered 80% by the state. The other 20% would need to be matched by the town on whatever amount we all agreed on for the piece of equipment.
So is there a maximum on this grant, or how does that work? So if is it a $10,000 purchase and an $8,000 grant?
Well, I've been looking at the Hydroseeder stuff. I've gotten prices anywhere from 30,000 to 14,000, and I've had a few that were lower than that, but they were quite small machines. We do currently rent one, so I just thought it would be a handy thing to have amongst the mix. I also wanted to run by you about maybe going in on one with another town to share, because it's not something that I use daily. If the towns could share expense, maybe like work back and forth, they use it, we use it, whatever, down the road too. So I wanted to run all that by you.
Okay. Jim,
How often do we rent a Hydroseeder and what is the cost?
did you hear that, Travis?
Yep. We rent it every summer. It's around $1,000 to $1,500 usually a summer, and sometimes because the machine we rent, sometimes we ended up having to work on it or put a little bit into it to keep it going or whatever. We currently share the rental with Newfane as well. They rent this same machine and we pass it back and forth. That's how we've gotten to work so well with knowing, okay, he needs it for a few weeks and now I need it for a few weeks. So
Sarah?
So have you spoken to, I guess, Newfane about whether they'd be interested in going
Yeah.
in?
Yes, they had asked us. They had reached out to us to see if it was something we'd be interested in going in on them with, and I'm all for it if you guys are.
Any other comments? So, I mean, you apply for a grant, you get it, maybe, that's great. If you may not get it, so,
Right.
I mean, there's no exposure to us right now.
Right. I mean, we can just go through the motions and see where the numbers lie and then go from there.
Yeah, and I'd say that would be fine to explore options to share, because it's not a piece of equipment that you're using.
Right.
Yeah, particularly not a lot of the year, and you can swap back and forth, so yes, I would say that'd be fine.
Perfect.
Anybody else?
Appreciate the creativity of thinking outside the box, different ways to cover this, and so I appreciate that. Thank you, Travis.
Thank you.
Yeah, that would be great, Travis. It would be even great if we could rent it to another town after Newfane and I buy it.
Okay, yeah, I guess you've got the okay to go forward with pursuing the grant.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And the update on paving?
Update on paving. They keep asking for more time, and I feel like it's getting real late in the year to be doing anything.
Wow.
They have asked for another 3 weeks, which puts us into October, and we had a deadline date of October 1st in our bid. So I was curious to see what you guys wanted to do. Do you want me to just tell them no, we'll come back in spring, or do we want? It's kind of late to have somebody try and come in now.
Joe?
So
Questions?
when should we not be getting paving done, Travis?
I mean,
Too late in the season, or is it, I mean, we want to get something done.
yeah.
Then we're pushing
would-
everything off again.
I mean, if at the least we can get our resurfacing done, I would okay all that. You know, but
So,
doing the new and the grinding, because that's an emulsified injection. The grinding is.
right.
The temperatures are really affected by that, and even they told me that. So I think I would count that stuff out for this year, because that new blacktop's not going to set up before the end of October, and we've all seen snow on Halloween.
Right. So is this something that they're overstretched, or they're blaming it on weather? Because I've seen Wilmington's done
Both.
paving and stuff.
Yeah. Yes, well, a lot of them other towns have gotten done. They hired that other contractor that we didn't go with this year. So they've already come through and had all their stuff done already. Our contractor has been stretched out. They're still working over in New Hampshire.
Sarah?
So we haven't even started
Done
anything
nothing.
yet.
No, they haven't even started anything. And they've, so far, I keep getting, every time I call for an update, they ask for more time.
So I guess the next question, if they don't get it done by October 1st, within our contract, and I'm not reading the contract, we can
Right.
call them off for this year legally. They can't come back on us for anything if they wanted to try to do it later or something.
I don't believe so. We're the ones that.
Well, I just want to make sure we're not getting.
So Travis,
Yeah,
I'm guessing that paving is even gonna cost more next year.
yeah,
We hold them to this contract to have it done in the spring before the end of the fiscal year.
That would be-
yep. We can do that.
That's what I would propose.
Okay.
And if we can get some of the topping done, that's one thing, but we do a lot of paving in this town,
Yes.
and we pay well. So if they ever want to do business with us again, they better hold to that price.
I totally agree with that, because I feel the same way. I kind of feel like we're putting out a pretty good tonnage here compared to a lot of other towns, and I'm kind of a little bit perturbed that they're not. We weren't farther up in their schedule than we were.
Yeah, and it seemed like we committed early, so
Yeah.
I think we need to play hardball back with them, Jeanette.
Okay. Yep.
I'm just pulling up the 2020 paving bid just to see what it says, and on this one, I'm not sure about the 2021, but this one was all work must be completed by September 4th, so I'm missing that change, but it says the contractor will be assessed $500 per day penalty for each calendar day after that until work is completed.
Do you have a copy of that, Travis, handy? The contract?
Yeah, I do. I have
Okay.
one in my office, and I know it says October 1st because I looked right before I.
Yeah, this was
Yeah.
this was the year before, but
Yep, Bob had it in for September something. Yep.
$500 penalty.
So is there a penalty in this current contract?
I believe there is. Yes, I believe all I did was change the date.
Well, we don't want them paving here in the late fall at all.
Right.
So I think that the least, they need to hold that price for us and get it
Yes.
done. Get it done by June 30th.
Yep. All right.
Does everybody agree?
Sure, if they're gonna pay the $500 a day all the way through the winter.
Well, they were supposed to have it done by October 1st.
I love it.
Yes.
I would suggest that we need to have a revision to the contract written that
Okay.
acknowledges that if we're not gonna hold them to the $500 a day fee,
They're gonna honor next year's price.
that they're gonna honor this year's price next year, and that they guarantee to complete it by June 30th.
Yep.
and then insert the penalty clause again.
Yep.
That
And
sounds
it all needs to be signed.
Yeah. So, try, you guys, yeah.
Did we have to do work to prep the roads that's now going to just go to waste, or does that?
No, we
that'll be
haven't.
all
Well,
The grind.
yes and no.
Is
He
that-
has prepped roads up your neck of the woods that will then keep
Be done again.
prepped all winter long to keep up that road that he planned to pave. So it is costing us money. So I stick to the $500 a day. It's only 50 grand 100 days. $50,000. It's a $600,000. So they're on warning not to take on more work than they should be taking on that they can't get through. There should be some penalty to them, in my opinion. You know, type thing. So don't just give away the $500 a day until it's done in the spring. You know, that's it's going to cost Travis money to keep that, especially that road, Travis. Wouldn't you agree to keep that road in the shape it needs to be this winter?
I built it all up now, and
Yeah.
That's
Willis Brook getting paved, and you know,
That's gonna suck.
All right. So,
put in.
so I'm with Joe. Let's tell them that they owe us $500 a day, and that time is coming really quickly, and that we expect them to hold the price and get it done by June 30th. Because if they want to come to us ever again, we're going to remember this.
Yep.
So, yeah. So you guys, you and Jeanette worked that up, that letter with what our expectations are.
Okay. We will do that.
So, Travis, when's the latest you could have that road that you spent so much time on paved and hold up for the season? Because that road needs to be paved. I mean, would it be, and I'm just asking this question, would it be worth it to find someone that may need some work to get that section done? Because you spent a lot of time up there.
Yeah.
So, would it make any sense to make sure we get that paved up on, what is that name of it?
Ellis.
Thank you. Ellisbrook?
I mean, it falls into Captain. There's Captain Copeland and Amik too that are in that same category as being new. So there's quite a bit of tonnage there. I don't know.
Well, I know that those aren't as steep as.
Right.
That's the only thing I'm thinking. So it'd be
Yep.
easier for you to maintain.
Yeah.
I would think, just in the road world.
So they're clearly breaking the contract already. So it probably would be fine if you made some phone calls to find out if anybody had time.
Okay. I can.
On top of everything else.
Even if they did that, like they did on North Street 2 years ago, even if they got a decent base put down, something, and then they can top it in the spring, you know?
Yeah.
I believe they did that on Buckboard as well.
All right. So Joe's point is good. We should get some topping on some of those that have been, worked on for safety and for maintenance.
Okay.
So see what you can do.
I'll figure something out, and I'll be back in touch for sure.
We could always buy a paving machine, can't we?
We'll just hydroseed the roads.
I love it.
Thank you for the update, and good luck with that.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
Hydroseed the roads.
No, that's it.
All right. Great. One you. We're now at the assessor, Linda. So we have one more error and omission. Thank you for presenting it with the numbers. I appreciate that. So the difference is, 2593.76. So I think this is very clear. Did everybody have a chance to look at this? Linda did send it around to everybody. It's an error and omission.
Yeah. I did see it.
Okay. Can we have a motion to accept this?
Move to accept the errors and omissions on PK 000-111 West F Inc. With a difference in value of $2,593.76.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Scott seconded. Any comments? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And Linda, I'm signing this one this time.
Oh, you have a copy to sign? Okay,
Mhm.
because I did come with one.
No, I have one right here.
Everybody's got
Well, last time I neglected to sign it, so Linda had to send it over to me, so I'll send that back over to Jeanette. All right, and now revisit the assistant position. So we have a job description and a plan
Hopefully you got
and an ad. We have all these things.
Jeanette and I spent a lot of time together.
So, did everybody have a chance to look at this? I know you did.
Yeah.
Are there any questions about the job description or the ad?
When did we get the job description?
Monday? Yesterday? Did we get it yesterday?
Yeah.
Yes, Sarah.
I just wanted to ask, one of the things that we had asked was the dollar per hour rate, that fit into your budget, and that's correct?
Did you get this?
I did.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yes.
no, I'm just saying, did that,
Oh, yes.
you backed that out of what you have? Okay, I just wanted to know.
Yeah, so, do you want to look at this, Joe?
I do, because I didn't get it.
So then, so Sarah did her wordsmithing, as she always often does, and
Because I can't
Just-
control myself.
change this, and then, so I'll read the information about the pay range is 11.75 to 15, depending on experience. It will start January 1st. Is that because of your budget, Linda?
That, yes, and timing.
Okay, all right, I didn't know if you needed the help right now, you probably do, but I'm just
So
trying to
When did it
understand.
start?
January 1st,
Ah.
2022. So at that point, you can have somebody hired and hopefully ready to go January 2nd or whatever.
The other piece of that is we will have budget meetings prior to.
Mhm. So. Any questions?
When you said we'll have budget meetings prior to, are you anticipating that you may be asking for a bump in your budget to accommodate this? Okay.
For the next fiscal year?
To add
next
to
year.
it, I felt the 15 on the top might be on the lower side, but right now, that's about what I can do.
And she's, in your current fiscal budget, you have 18 to 20 hours that would fit and
Right.
work.
Correct.
So here's the
So, did we put an ad together for this yet?
ad is right here.
This is the ad.
My apologies to the board. I sent this to just Vicky and Sarah because that came today. It was really the first opportunity I had to really sit down with Jeanette. So
Okay, I just, it's like I didn't see it.
I think it's a pretty thorough job description.
Yeah, I agree. Jim?
I think you might have trouble getting anybody to apply for this
Well,
at the
Let's
pay rate.
Well,
Hey, Brad,
yeah.
Okay, let him finish, Joe, please.
please. And it may be better to phrase it, and you can run it by the wordsmith, is pay commensurate with qualifications. Or something to that effect. I just don't think you can get anybody at 11 something to $15 an hour.
Okay, Joe?
I am not going to disagree with Jim. That it's going to be very difficult. Huh? No, I totally agree. But we need to know that Vail Resorts has set their minimum wage at $15, okay, for the season. So, with that said, well, I think that this is a perfect position that you should let, like, the school know because you're during the day of school time. and it's very flexible. So I think there's a person out there that would like to make some money and be very flexible. So I'm just looking at the ad. That would be something, not that we're looking for someone in that situation, but it might be attractive to have it in the ad that it's, during the hours of 9 to 3. Not that, some people, you'd think they would know that, but they don't. So that's all I'm saying, or whatever the hours.
Okay.
Or
Hold on.
flexible.
So on that, lots of times people
So.
put, parents with children are, it's works
Yes,
around
it's
school
all-
schedule.
exactly.
Encourage them
I'm
to
just
apply.
trying to get some sort of traction
Right.
for her.
Okay, Linda was next.
So, just a note, that's how I started, because I had kids in school,
Yeah.
and it was perfect.
Mhm.
I was not planning on putting the pay range in the ad.
Mhm.
I was going to put something, you have it, I don't believe I have the ad. up here
Where's
tonight.
the pay range thing?
But I was, negotiated, based on experience or something, possibly.
Yep.
That was what I had planned to do.
Okay. Who had, Sarah, you had your
I
hand?
had my
Marco,
hand,
you had your hand up too.
It's better I don't say anything. Pass.
Okay.
but I'm not disagreeing with you, Jim. Unfortunately, right now, we're trying to do this mid-fiscal year, and she's trying to do this out of a budget that already exists. So would it be unreasonable for us to allow Linda to indicate that a raise would be available starting?
I don't think we should need to do
Okay.
that for the beginning, for just advertising.
Okay.
Jim?
Certainly if you find, addressing Sarah's point, certainly if you find somebody that is extremely skilled at this position, and we're worried about budgetary things, you may be able to give more money and narrow the hours. I mean, you can always make the number work.
Yes. Linda?
So this is all out of the budget, the current assistant assessor budget line item. There is other money that could be used if, that was one reason I didn't want to put this in the ad, if we needed to.
Okay, so let me just understand. So
leave it at
if
that.
we hired somebody at $15 an hour for 20 hours a week for the 6 months from January to June, would that fall within your budget?
Yes.
Okay, so we're not far off on things. All right, so, do flexible days. So, maybe we should put in here pay commensurate with experience. And,
Is there anything in there like that now? That I added? Maybe not.
no, No.
Suggesting it, I don't know.
I don't see that, so. Yes, Sarah?
What is the figure that you have in your budget available for this? The total, the whole number?
Oh, that I have available, did I write that down? I believe it's just under 7,500.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? Any other comments? Can Linda move forward hiring, looking for somebody? Maybe with that little tweak on this about the pay based on experience? Does anybody have any other?
She can pay them $288 a week, however she wants to do that.
Okay, well, we should all look at the numbers when we get to that point, okay? So I think that we need to advertise and we should get it out there, so I'd say go for it. Anybody else? Anybody have any? No? Dan, you good? Thumbs up? Thumbs down? Okay. All right, we're good. Good. Do you have anything else for us tonight, Linda?
No.
All right. Unfinished business. We are going to revisit this library sign, and we're going to get this done tonight, right? I am so ready to finish this.
Yes.
Yes, no, there, I would like to move forward. There's some like minor changes. They want to just have the name be a little bit different, but the Kids in the Country were willing to have their sign up there. I think that there was a little bit of hesitancy about like saying or publicizing that there were going to be like this was a place where kids were or something, but you know, if there's no cost to them and if it could be up there, then yes, they were willing to go forward with it, so we should move forward.
Do we have a sign permit?
Not yet. I need,
No.
Is the plan approved? I mean, did you see it?
I haven't seen anything. It hasn't, none that's been submitted to me.
Oh, that was
Okay,
the other
that's me.
piece of this
That's on you.
that I wanted Tabby to review it.
Oh, there's a copy of it
There is?
in your,
Great.
in your stuff.
So, but this doesn't have dimensions on it, I don't believe.
It's not, even if it did, it's not an application.
No, but, yeah, so we don't have dimensions or anything, but this is what it's kind of gonna look like.
That's a lot better than what's there.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we need to get a sign permit, and so who is going to do that is the question. This is the
I'll just
town,
do it.
huh?
I'll just do it.
Okay,
'Cause I
I
just,
can either give you a blank permit now, or I can email it to you. You
Yes.
can fill it out, give me the dimensions, give me everything, and then I'll be able to look at it immediately.
and you can bring it, and the town can waive the sign permit fee, since it's on our property.
Yeah.
All right, so we're getting close. Kids in the Country's in.
Home stretch, baby.
And make sure you write the check out.
Okay, we're getting close. So let's get the sign permit done and see if it's approved. Okay? And then we can move forward.
see if it's approved.
No, it's got to go through the process, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you for checking with Kids in the Country. And I mean, every school in everywhere has a sign, and kids are there, right? So,
Yeah.
okay. Anything else on the library sign? If not, we're going to move on to new business, which our patient Voices of Hope people are here to give us an update of on what they're up to helping Windham County and the Valley.
Thank you. My name is Elizabeth McEwen, but this is the heart and soul of Voices with Hope. Cheryl Rusin, who's here with me tonight. And about 3 years ago, there were several community discussions on the opioid problem in the world and in the Valley and in the community. And there was a group that got together and decided that they really wanted to learn about this, and they really wanted to see what is true, what is factual, you know, what's really happening, and what is, you know, maybe only in the papers in some other way. And when we did, we found that one of the issues about us or the Valley, the Deerfield Valley, is that usually when it comes to sort of these social problems and these social needs, that what we answer to our own citizens is, yeah, you can get help, go to Brattleboro. Yeah, you can get help, go to Bennington. But no one's saying, no, we want to help you here. And so we formed a more formal group, and it's getting more formal all the time. And we are called Voices of Hope. We give a community discussion and or presentation on the last Tuesday of the month, and they currently all happen in Wilmington, only because that's where it started to take shape. And so now what we really like to do is make sure that each town in the Valley understands what we have to offer and make use of what we do. And so our vision is a community that offers connection, acceptance, creativity, and the importance of compassion in the Deerfield Valley. And so we are currently working on a handheld folded pamphlet for local resources, instead of having to do that same thing for the police officers to have. And Matt Morano is guiding us somewhat on that. They become our partners. Whitingham has become our partners. And we're here tonight to just kind of say what we do. So what we do have is we have the trainings and presentations. We also have recovery coaching, and for those of you who don't know, it is not like a 12-step program, but it is accepting someone where they are at the time. And there is no sort of right or wrong path, and there's no particular path. They can take a multitude of paths with recovery coaching. And we also have resources and referrals. For instance, we very new programs over in Bradford. They are in Bradford, but it's one day. If someone needs assistance, especially for Suboxone, within one day we can get them from in to prescription instead of waiting 6 weeks. And so we're keeping up with where's that happening, what's that doing. We also found at the request of someone that there's an inebriate house in the Bennington area. And what that is, if the police find someone who's intoxicated or under the influence of substances, what they can do is say, but this is all that is. Can we get them somewhere safe overnight and medically secure? Not have to worry about that. And so there is one, and we were very excited to find that. So resources and referrals all over, and I'm gonna let the rest of it, oh, I know what I wanted to say. Under trainings, we also train people who are in substance use. They do not have to be totally in recovery or abstinent to be working with us. And also there are ways for people who get serious about their recovery to actually start, will pay for and get them connected to training for jobs. It is in the recovery milieu, but they are available. And so we think that's pretty exciting. We think that we've come a long way in 3 years. And so my ask, Cheryl has a different one. My ask is that spread the word and tell people we're here. And it would be great if some people from Dover let us know what you need, right? Just like Wilmington let us know what they needed. And I'll let Cheryl really address one of the first issues that actually ever came up. And so I'm perfectly open for questions or comments later, but I want Cheryl to go.
Hi everyone, my name is Cheryl Lucen. This spring, Voices of Hope received a grant from the Department of Health, Alcohol, and Drug Division to promote the importance of all local businesses to have Narcan on site in the event of an accidental overdose and participate in our business community program. This program will reduce the likelihood of opioid overdose by increasing linkages to treatment and services in the Deerfield Valley. Our training teaches how to recognize the signs, how naloxone works in reversing the effects of overdose, and how to follow the step-by-step procedure and storage. Having this powerful life-saving drug and the ability to empower several communities to potentially change the course of someone's life would be simply life-changing.
Can I brag it up? Yes. Cheryl set upon doing this because in one of the large community discussions that we had in Wilmington, it was determined that the business group and the businesses were not friendly to people who were using and abusing substances. And so we as a group decided, well, wow, what if we could alert to having something that actually helps them? And we really thought it was going to be an uphill battle, but I think at last count, and I don't know the exact numbers, it was something like over 80 businesses have been contacted and over 65 are now carrying naloxone. And Cheryl, can you show me that?
I'd like to show everybody an example of what the emergency kit looks like. Has all the supplies that you need. I don't know if you want to pass it around or, sorry. Those boxes, the storage boxes, have been donated by a family that's daughter
I was gonna see, get it onto the screen.
passed away from an
I
overdose
don't think
locally.
they see it. Bring it over to the
And
camera.
I just wanna get it.
They also, I think one of the great things about the boxes is it brings true legitimacy to the need to have something like this on site. And so many of the areas, what they're doing is they're putting, the businesses are putting them right next to the AED defibrillators. And then there you have, here's our emergency stuff, right, boom, boom, right there. And so, the bad news is that the numbers are going up. There is more, there's a new bad news that they are now mixing it with opioids with methamphetamines, and that is creating a different kind of overdose again, and very fatal. And the last, I hate to end on a bummer, but when we realize that opioid overdoses is taking more lives than COVID is, I think it's really serious for us not to get buried under all the other hype and to stay to the task, because it's not going to be a short run. It's going to be a long run. But we know that the Deerfield Valley doesn't want to say, there was a young girl, I'm going to use this example, there was a young girl from the Deerfield Valley, and she really worked hard, and she got into her recovery, and she actually got one of those paying jobs within recovery, but she said, you know what, the resources aren't here, I don't feel like I can do it in the valley. So she moved back to Brattleboro, and because not only do you have the resources there, but you also have no housing. And you also have housing that's very difficult for people who are trying to be in recovery, to be in, if they're on a low income or in poverty. And so, unfortunately, she has right now decided to take another choice, and I can't help but think, what would have happened if the people she knew here in the valley could have said, no, come in, instead of go out.
Mm-hmm. So, Elizabeth,
Yes.
what you just said rings. We have the Bytown Housing Committee, and I
Yes.
think you guys should plan to come visit us. We meet once a month. It's on a Wednesday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
I think I've been there.
Okay. You've been there? Did I miss it?
Didn't I have to do my house sharing thing there?
Your what?
Didn't I?
Yeah, your house share. Yeah, right. But about this, because this
Sure.
also dovetails into our housing situation, which we know is a very big problem.
Absolutely.
And if there's things that can add more urgency to everything, I think that would be useful for our group to hear from the house share as well. But, but I think that would be useful for Voices of Hope
I'm
to.
happy to do it. You just let me know.
I just think it would, because.
Let us know. And the other thing I was just thinking about too is that I'm sort of known as the connector. Cheryl does all the work. And I get to say, you know who else needs to hear about that?
I think it's all part of the problem. And,
Yeah, and if you
so-
can endorse us in some way, like putting us on your town website or something like that, and that is totally your decision, I understand, and I understand it either way. But if you say no, I'll be back.
So it's been great, all the large homeowner associations have been trained and have accepted it. There are four more smaller homeowner associations that are pending, all local post offices, West Halifax, Whitingham, Jacksonville, Wardsboro, West Wardsboro.
That's great.
So for me personally, this experience, this was a tool that I wasn't prepared and had in my personal situation losing my son. So for me, boy, if you can empower someone else's family maybe to not go through what I did, and it's been a journey. Of course, I did not know what to expect. I've had many positive, just amazing conversations with with people where I had said to myself, you know, at one point I felt like I was alone, but I was never alone. Everyone has been affected, either a neighbor, a family member, someone that they know has been touched by this. So it's been a great experience. It really has. You know, and then there's folks, you know, corporate. You know, I really haven't gotten responses back from any corporate businesses. I have 7 pending, and then I had 4 that mentioned, you know, I don't feel comfortable dispensing anything to anyone, let alone any of my employees. Gotta respect that. So.
Linda?
First of all, thank you both. What you're doing is incredible. My question, I guess, is how does a town, like you were talking about towns that have partnered, how would we partner? How would we do that?
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy, but you'll all decide for yourselves. You can come to a meeting and see how, you know, sort of that starting place came. But Whitingham is doing something else, and they're talking to us and putting us on a website, for instance. If anybody, I have, you know, information. We now have a website, you know, and we have a phone number and email, and everything's all separate, and we have these little sheets. So if it's something that, say, Linda, you're thinking, wow, I'd really like to hear this over here. Boy, that would be great for us. Because I'm not going to pretend that I'm of the same closeness and connectedness within this town, but I am within this valley.
Mhm.
So that's what we would like to have happen if possible.
Anybody else? Sarah?
I just wanted to, you had said something about the death rate relative to COVID. Is that calculation in the valley, in the state?
It is not,
in
it
the
is by the
country?
county.
That's in the county, okay.
It's also nationally, but it's really hard to, if you're trying to get those exact numbers, if I may even say, so much of it gets misreported and under another, you know, event, so to speak. So there's that type of thing, and like another story that really bothered me that happened was 2-3 weeks ago. There was a younger girl over, and it was in Brattleboro, but she went and went back. It was a relapse, and most people who are users are most vulnerable if they're going into a relapse. Because they don't know about all of the body changes and the brain receptors being different now. So you don't think that, because what's the difference? I'd rather something else, something new. And so she was left. She was left there. They knew she was overdosing, and they were afraid, and so they left her. But under the Good Samaritan law, there was a way that they could have made a call and not been arrested. And so we want people to know that, because there's a person I know now that is now driving the mover over in Brattleboro, and for that person it was a big change in socioeconomic dealings back and forth a little bit, you know, with people who are actually sort of live by public transportation, I would say. And there were many discussions back and forth and whatnot. And one day came to me and said, "You got any of that naloxone left?" And I said, "I do. I have 1 box left." And she said, "Well, I got trained once." And I said, "Well, the training is very easy." I said, "We can open the box if you want and go over the training, but when you open the box, the training's right there." And she said, "Good, because no one's dying on my watch." So if we can do that to 4 more people, That's gonna save how many?
Yeah.
In the long run. So, thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else have any other comments? Thank you very much, and we're happy to have you visit, and your service is sorely needed around here, so we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to have an update from SeVEDS, I think from Laura.
Whoa! Yeah.
Sorry.
Hello, how are you guys? Thank you for letting me come in later. This is our annual visit here, SeVEDS and BDCC, to talk about the regional municipal funding requests, which are the same. I think you all got the letter and have come with updates on programs, which we'll get those to you, and there's an extra one there for record. This year, with the this past year, we've continued doing a lot of work, helping businesses with COVID recovery, technical assistance for different types of programs, and also we have been working on standing up a few additional programs. We've been doing work here in Dover with Eric, I think, helping to support the business planning competition.
And also our revolving loan program.
Yes, yeah, a number of different programs. Yeah. So I'm here to answer questions if folks have them, but just to really briefly highlight for folks who don't know, SeVEDS is the long-term regional strategic kind of planning entity for the Wyndham region. BDCC is the regional RDC, the Regional Development Corporation. That's how the state delivers economic development services. So SeVEDS plans and BDCC implements. And that is done through a 5-year comprehensive economic development strategy, which is a federally prescribed process for talking about how we will grow our regional economy. That plan, we then put in place, BDCC puts in place programs to help achieve the goals that are outlined in the SeVEDS. And primarily the goals in the SeVEDS are to grow the population and help improve the business climate. We're on our second SeVEDS here. This one was done as part of the Southern Vermont Economic Development Zone. That's Bennington and Wyndham County, but this is the Wyndham County implementation side. So I provided you with a number of programs that we've been putting together to help move those programs, those goals along. We have our business assistance program, and that has really grown in the last year. We now have 3 folks working on providing technical assistance to small businesses, our community facilities program, which helps, I don't know if you all are actually part of that, but that can provide technical assistance for securing funding for improving community facilities. In addition, we've done a lot of business resiliency programming, particularly with COVID, and also thinking about succession planning for a number of our businesses. We've got a number of workforce programs, thinking about workforce from the kids on up. Pipelines and Pathways program, that's the program that's in all of the high schools, helping seniors understand what types of jobs there are in the economy, or in the regional economy, and what kind of training you need in order to be able to be employed in those jobs. And this year was the first year there were students that graduated with a Wyndham Works credential. So they've gone through a number of programs and had received training on a number of different soft skills. We've done a lot and are continuing to do a lot around recruitment and retention, as well as the Southern Vermont Young Professionals. I spoke about the Community Facilities Technical Assistance Program. The Southern Vermont Economy Project, I know you all have participated in a number of those programs. That is with Sarah Lang, and that is helping, we know that that primarily focuses at municipalities, on municipalities, and other economic development providers across southern Vermont, and it's really just helping to build the capacity. So we know that if one entity doesn't know how to fill out a CDBG application, probably another entity doesn't either, and so a training might be helpful. In addition to that, we are working on, and you may have heard about the Welcoming Communities program. That was something that started with an application to the Boston Fed, and looking at how do we kind of systematize, how do we systematize better immigration in the region. We have a number of folks accessing seasonal workforce through visa, foreign born. We also have a number of folks, I don't know if we've spoken to you about this, there's an organization called CASP, which is the Community Asylum Seekers Project. That is a community-based project that started in Bellows Falls and was literally going to, prior to going, they will, working through a network of churches. They have a number of volunteers. They would identify a homestay and raise enough funds to support the homestay and an asylum seeker, and they would literally go and, you know, be able to bring a person back. And that program has, so we're now working with that program, trying to help it have some more funds, be a little bit more sustainable. And also working on, you may have heard about ECDC. That is one of, I think it's 9, there's 7 or 9 refugee programs in the U.S. And so we have one, USCRI, that operates in Chittenden County and Winooski and has been resettling refugees here for more than 20 years. ECDC is operating in, I think, 12 different areas across the country. They're opening an office here in Brattleboro. They've just hired their first executive director, and so they will be helping to resettle refugees here. We have received those refugees will be with the refugee program. Folks come in and they are supported in Brattleboro for the first 90 days. And of course, refugees, they can choose to leave also, right? And so if you have a number of folks coming who have fled, you know, a conflict in a certain area, it may be that there's a large settlement of folks that have relocated somewhere else besides here, and so these folks may leave, or they may choose to stay and make their life here. This developing an immigration strategy has been part of both of the sets, and so this is the realization of that. So I think I'll stop right there. Typically, we have asked all of our communities to either include us in the budget, include us as a separately warrant article, and Dover has led, along with the town of Brattleboro, Wilmington, and Bellows Falls, in supporting this regional effort for almost a decade, I think. So maybe not quite that long. We're getting there. And I know that Dover has typically had us listed as a separately warrant article and asked us to come and speak to that. And we would be grateful to have that happen again this year.
Do we have any questions of Laura? Laura, I do have a question. Who are our local representatives that are on the SeVEDS board?
So from the Valley, Meg Streeter is on. Actually, Perlmutter has been on, and of course she is leaving. And so we are working to have another person established from the Dover area.
Any other questions? Thank you. Thank you,
Great.
Laura, for coming to see us, and I'm sure you will probably see that same article in our warning again this year.
Okay. Before I leave, Madam Chair,
Yes,
do you have any need for me with my other hat?
the representative hat.
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions?
I have a lot, but not in this pretext of the meeting.
Okay, so Joe will reach out to you individually.
Yeah, actually, I want to
Potential.
talk to Joe about your energy stuff. Okay, great.
Thank
you
you.
so much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Laura.
All right, We're moving to the consent agenda to approve the minutes of September 7th and set the special meeting of September 17th.
I move to approve the minutes of September 7th, 2021.
Second? You got it? Second? Any errors, changes? All those in favor? Aye. September 17th, can I have a motion to approve this? Sorry.
I don't know if Dan is eyeing or if he has a question.
Yes, Dan? Yes, Dan?
I have to recuse myself from the 17th of this.
Okay. 17th, Dan is recusing.
Motion to approve the minutes of September 17th.
Say second, then you can say.
I'll say second.
Okay.
I recuse myself for the first part because we had no sound while I was trying to do it. So, I know. Well,
So-
I'm so glad it wasn't mine.
It made a lot of sense when she said that because you said,
Yeah,
I can't hear it. Yeah, I get it. But we could hear stuff, which was interesting.
You could hear, but the mic was off.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, so the three other members,
Just trying to-
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then we're going to approve the warrants for September 4th in the amount of $172,559.03.
So moved.
Jeanette.
Sorry.
Second?
Second.
It should say September 18th, not September 4th. So I
Okay,
apologize.
September 18th, thank you. Will you amend your motion?
I amend my motion to reflect the date change of September 18th.
Joe, will you accept that motion? Will
I
you second
sure
that?
will.
All right, any questions? So I'm sure you guys probably noticed on the police payroll, because I talked to Randy about this before the meeting, there's a lot of overtime, and some of that is that required training. So boom, there we go. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Dan, you already signed, so I assume you're an aye. Okay. FYI, Town Fair, September 29th in person, October 4th through 8th virtual, blc.org/townfair. What else, Jeanette?
I put it with your things, but we got a letter from Senior Solutions. We just got it on Monday, and they're looking for the Successful Aging Award,
I know.
which they need by October 7th. So it doesn't give a lot of time, since we only have, our next meeting is October 5th.
And you have to be over 80.
I
And
know.
you did the last
I
one.
did the last one for Sally.
And I did Leonard.
So
If anybody has any ideas, you did email this to us. Oh, no, I got it directly
No,
from
because I
Senior Solutions.
just got-
So if anybody has any ideas, you can nominate somebody. You do have to be over 80 years old.
Not to nominate, to be nominated.
No. To be a nominee, you have to be over 80. Actively participate in their communities and currently involved in activities that meet the award's objectives. So if anybody has any great ideas, Jeanette can provide you with the, I'm sure that we'd be happy to nominate anybody, yes. All right, liaison reports. No. Executive session, I don't feel that, I've not heard that we need one tonight. Nope. All right, at that, I will adjourn the meeting at 7:44 PM. That's it. That's it.